Howdy. If you're not from Texas, you probably don't say that back, right? When I get to travel internationally, I say, howdy, y'all, and the interpreters always go, what? You ought to hear them in China. They have no clue how to interpret howdy. And I also say, most of you are either still asleep or you're really good, as my grandmother would have said, back row Baptist, because the only people on the front row up here is my team from Fort Worth and the other speakers. But it's great to be here with you, and I appreciate the innovation and invitation to the Better Business. It is early, sorry. The Better Building Challenge, and to have the chance to talk about the transformation that has happened in Fort Worth in energy efficiency and what we've been doing. It really is. So before I launch into what I really like to do, which is brag about the city of Fort Worth, let me just say a few thank yous. Thank you to the Department of Energy. And I'm sorry that our former governor, Secretary Perry, is not with us this morning. He's a good friend and you'll enjoy him as Secretary of Energy. And a special thanks to the Better Building Challenge and partners that are in attendance from Fort Worth today. Sam Gunderson, who's our conservation specialist at the City of Fort Worth, has done amazing things for the citizens of Fort Worth. Jonathan Krantz, the Executive Director of the U.S. Green Building Council of Texas. We had dinner last night, and I enjoyed getting to know him. Steve Cook, our Facilities Director, is here. Thank you all for being here. And Joanne Lazaras from Lockheed Martin, and you all know Lockheed Martin, who build the planes that deliver the sound of freedom. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about their partnership with us. You know, and as mayor, it's my pleasure, and it won't surprise you, that I'll talk a little bit about Fort Worth so you'll know who we are first. And we are a fast-growing city. In the last 10 years, we have been the fastest-growing city, or the top 2 or 3 in the nation. We are now the 16th largest city in the nation, and we are no longer that suburb to the east of us called Dallas. We are no longer just their sister city. We are a full partner, and with the 2020 census, Fort Worth will be the 14th largest city in the nation and potentially the 13th largest. We have the dubious distinction right now of being the leading drop-off place for U-Hauls. People love Fort Worth, and they love the growth we're having. We also are a very young community. Our average age is 31.5. We're the youngest large city in the South right now. Money Magazine ranked us the 4th best place to live and to visit in the nation. And in 2016, we had 9 million visitors with an annual economic impact of nearly $3 billion. People don't just move to Fort Worth, they come now. And Condé Nast ranked us in the top 4 places to watch and to visit in the nation. We have great parks, great recreation, and a lot going on. But then you knew as mayor I was going to say that, right? I wouldn't be doing my job if I weren't. And Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Ben Carson, was with us recently, and he said, I've always wondered what the DFW in the airport name stands for. And he said, now I know it's Destination Fort Worth. As you know, it's actually Dallas Fort Worth because we own it. But as a growing city, and a rapid growing city, and a very conservative city, it's our job to deliver energy efficiency and sustainability in new and innovative ways. Energy future is not just fate. It's up to everyone to participate and to write that story and to guide our energy future. And I know that for change to start, it must begin at the local level. Recently, the City of Fort Worth completed an aggressive 13-year journey, a $70 million push through contracts, performance contracts that will save us energy. We aimed at improving the efficiency of all of our city facilities, and most of our city facilities are very old. We have a few new ones, but most of them are old and are having to be retrofitted. And how did we come to the Better Building Challenge? Better Business is another group that I've been speaking to, so pardon me if I say Better Business. When I first took office in 2011, in early 2012, we happened to be in D.C. and we were visiting different departments. And one of them was the Department of Energy. And we were visiting with the then Assistant Secretary, and he had on his wall a chart about the Better Building Challenge. And I said, how come there's no cities in the South and very few big cities on that? He said, I don't know, you want to take the challenge on? And our city manager was with me, and he just went, don't tell her that, she'll take any challenge. So we did, and I'm excited to say that we are well on the way on the journey to 20% by 2020. In fact, in an unusual anomaly for a big city, we're ahead of schedule on achieving that, and that credit goes to a great team. It's not often that you can say that in city government, that you're ahead. And it's not often that you can say that cities are leading the way, but we can and we must. We've used the challenge and the partnerships to guide our energy management and to help us get better air quality standards. The Metroplex, made up of Dallas and Fort Worth, struggles with our air quality. This challenge has helped us go a long way towards that. We started this trek in years prior to actually signing the challenge, but this challenge dovetailed nicely in with the work that we'd already done and creating a BBC network in Fort Worth. Last year alone, in 2016, we achieved a 16% reduction across our BBC network partners. And we're well on our way to achieving the 20% reduction by the 2020 goal. I'm very excited. We pride ourselves in Fort Worth on a can-do attitude, and we've succeeded largely as a conservative city because of public-private partnerships. What a better challenge than this one that's made up of public and private partnerships. While the city has led the way, most of our businesses have come on without fussing and said, we can do that, we'll partner with you, creating great synergies between partners here. And in a region where air quality, as I said, has been at risk, this has gone a long way towards improving where we stand. It's simple math. Cities and partnering businesses are keeping funds that otherwise would be spent on utilities. And we're all about saving those precious tax dollars. As the burden of taxes becomes high for our citizens, we have to be innovative and look at how do we save those dollars. Investing in capital with local contractors who in turn invest in vendors and do the jobs returns that money and those jobs to Fort Worth's economy. A primary challenge in helping citizens and businesses engage in resource conservation is always education. I'm a big believer that if you educate the public, they will lead the way in helping you get the job done. Our understanding of energy and its uses has changed dramatically in the last few years. Used to, people took for granted when you flipped the switch, the lights would come on, or that you turned on the tap and the water would be there. But with education, we've been able to teach them that you have to think about your energy, not just when the lights go out, but all the time. Think about the cost savings. Think about the environment. Our citizens are beginning to understand the nature and the role that energy plays in their everyday life. And city staff has worked very close with local middle schools to help educate students. And you all know, if you've had middle school kids or have middle school kids, they're the ones who go home and say, Mom, turn the light out. Mom, don't leave the faucet on. It's those kids who can help carry the message. And Fort Worth is building endless opportunities for education into all of our projects. Some of those projects have names that I won't even begin to talk about, like photovoltaic installations. It's just not my thing. But our recent innovation of our municipal court is now LEED certified. I think, Steve, that's our first LEED building, isn't it? Which is really good for the city. And our new municipal airport is LEED certified. And city staff has a terrific roadshow they take to local businesses and schools and talk about energy conservation. Because oftentimes it's simply showing people what can be done, and they will get engaged. As mayor, I say you can't govern, nor will I govern from behind a desk. I'm out and about all the time, actively talking to citizens. And you don't know, but we do some strange engagement in Fort Worth, and it's great fun. I'm an avid cyclist, and we do rolling town halls and engage our citizens on bicycles in all parts of the city. And they always ask, despite the fact that we're not the utility provider except for water, what can I do to lower my electric bill? What can I do to lower my gas bill? And we talk a lot about that when we're out visiting with them, and it's been a great way. But you have to lead by example, and the city has to be the one setting the charge on saving those tax dollars. Planning for the future, the City of Fort Worth has implemented many resource conservation measures. Some of our most recent ones and successes are what you have been doing also, simple changes in LED lighting. Several years ago, we retrofitted our traffic signals, and it's been a huge success. Currently, we're in the process of refitting LED streetlights, and citizens love the look and the feel, and we love the savings that goes with it. As you know, LED lighting is an extremely fast payback and has had great technology and great market penetration. The City of Fort Worth started implementing LED lights in our facilities in 2010 and continue on the way with the goal to get all of them redone in the next few years. Our growth in Fort Worth has created incredible challenges, but incredible opportunities for us too. But it's brought newfound strain on our utility infrastructure, forcing us to explore ways that we can save energy and return energy to the grid to expand its capacity. It's no secret that the loss of light and the loss of power can disrupt a city and disrupt a citizen's life. It's time that we all begin to talk about negative watts versus megawatts. It's a term that we must use in daily talking with our citizens and watching that bottom line. The money we save can and will be reinvested in future projects, helping grow our economy even more. In Texas, the buzz term is energy independence, and it's taken very seriously. Ultimately, our nation is more secure by minimizing our dependence on other regions of the world for our energy. But it also means that as we work towards reducing demand, we must create a reliable grid to deliver that electricity. In Texas, we are leading the country in diversifying our energy portfolio. The state's renewable energy boom was started by then Governor George Bush with the deregulation of our electric market. The competitive electric market created a path to renewable energy generation. Bush put in place in 2009 a 2,000 megawatt goal. It was quickly achieved and surpassed. And now Secretary of Energy, then Governor Rick Perry, put in place a target of 10,000 megawatts by 2026. That was achieved and surpassed in 2012. So we really are moving along, and I'm very excited. In April of 2016, 19,000 megawatts of renewable capacity was on the Texas grid, and that's enough to generate the power for 4 million Texas households. And Fort Worth has been a part of that. 92% of our energy in 2001 came from fossil fuels. In 2016, we had positive changes, and now we are 78% fossil fuel, 16% renewable, and 4% nuclear. As we look at innovative ways to create energy and to be more efficient, water continues to rise to the top. It requires a lot of water to produce electricity, but it requires a lot of energy on the city's behalf to move that water. And we are looking at new and innovative ways to save our dollars. Almost half of at the city of our energy consumption is associated with our water utilities, and we're actively trying to minimize that. I talked a bit about Fort Worth and its accomplishments, but I want to talk a little bit about our partners and what they're doing. The businesses in Fort Worth are leading the country in innovation and energy efficiency. I'm sorry, folks, just some days you can't get your tongue straight. Lockheed Martin, as I mentioned earlier, who builds in Fort Worth the F-16 and the F-35, and when they roar overhead, we stop talking and say it's just the sound of freedom. It's a great partner for us, one of our largest employers, an $80 billion company with 590 locations worldwide. And their location in Fort Worth alone is 125 buildings, totaling almost 8 million square feet on nearly 700 acres. And they employ 14,000 people in Fort Worth. But they continue to put a strong emphasis on their energy reduction so that they don't put a strain on our grid. Lockheed's 2020 Go Green included a water reduction of 20% by 2020, and I'm proud to say that they're already at 22% on their water reduction. Carbon emission reduction of 35%, and currently they're already at 29% on their carbon reduction. And a total waste reduction of 7%, which they've achieved well above the 2020 goal. They've been a tremendous partner for us and one that we're proud to display and show other businesses what can and should be done. If a large employer building defense planes can do it, almost anyone can. It's a $27 million savings for their operating expenses per year. It's amazing. Our leading new challenge in Fort Worth and great partner is Facebook, not a company that I need to explain to any of you what they do, right? Nobody functions well without Facebook. Facebook just this month opened the first of 5 data centers in Fort Worth, and they're one of the most sophisticated and innovative, efficient data centers in the world. In fact, Mark Zuckerberg was there and he said, I like this climate, I like your focus on energy so much, I intend to make this my largest data center in the nation. The data center houses 440 square feet and will be more than 1 million square feet within a year. But why did they come to Fort Worth? They came to Fort Worth because they want to be powered by 100% renewable energy. And thanks to more than 200 megawatts of new wind energy that Facebook worked to bring to Fort Worth, and it's now generated 200 megawatts on the Texas grid. The data center won't use that much for at least 10 years, but it's being returned currently to the grid. So they picked Fort Worth because they had redundant water sources. All of their servers are water-cooled and air-cooled, and great wind power to generate their electricity. They contracted on a 17,000-acre wind farm not far from Fort Worth that began delivering power to our grid in December of 2016, almost a year before they even opened. And along with that, DFW, our great airport, now the 3rd busiest airport in the nation, with 65 million passengers a year, has just been awarded the International Go Green Award for their energy consumption. They've seen a 23% reduction in their energy cost while seeing a 20% increase in passengers and use of the airport. They continue to do extremely positive things at the airport, and we're very pleased to be partnering with them. Our valuable partners across the city have taught us a lot and have helped change the way that Fort Worth and Texans indeed think about energy. As a nation, we generate the most change by starting at the local city level. A concentrated grassroots effort by those sitting here in the audience today is what it can and will take, and you're making happen for this nation to become energy independent and energy efficient. And local government must lead the way to help you get there. It all starts with one person's great idea and one person's success story. and more than one person talking about it. I encourage you to go back, talk to your council members, talk to your mayor, talk to your commissioner's court about what they're doing. It's your dollars that we're spending after all. Find out if they're involved in the change that can and must happen. Together we can make those innovative things happen. Who knows, it may be the idea that one of you in this room tweet out today that generates the next great cost saving for us. It's exciting to see so many people engaged in this great cause and working to reduce energy and save cost. If a conservative community in Texas, like Fort Worth, can lead the way, then each and every one of you and your cities can too. Thank you for having me today. I look forward to hearing more about energy.